Hey guys, welcome back to another commentary from a national champion. Today I've got a bit of a personal treat for myself. Hang on, where's my window gone? We have Professor Marcelo Gomide, and I'm not exactly sure who is fighting, G. Henrique. Professor Henrique. This is, Marcelo smashed me at nationals last year. He absolutely dismantled me, like 49-0. Or something like this by the end of the match. And then he armbarred me. So like what happened is he just kept sweeping me, kept taking him out, and I kept on managing to get back into like the top of a guard. But he'd just smash me again with sweeps and things. He'd pass my guard, go knee on belly, go mount again. And that happened 3, 4, 5 times in the match, and he racked up 49 points, and then he dropped me on my bad shoulder. Not his fault, my fault. And then I just decided, you know what, I'm not coming back into this match with a minute left, and then he armbarred me. So he absolutely dismantled me, kind of effortlessly, I would say. Actually, no, I'm a bit egotistical. He dismantled me with some effort, but it was definitely very, very one-sided, and he smashed me 49-0 with a sub last year at Nationals, and then went on to win the whole damn thing. And this year he competed at Worlds and came third. He's done very well. And I believe that this is his match where he comes third, And so this is the only video I have. I asked him permission to record this, and this is the only video that I have. We start the video at 9:15, so I'm assuming we've bowed on, like they've grip fought for a second, and then Professor Henrique is pulled guard or something like this. So we'll start off the match here. There's a fair bit going on. I apologize for the quality, guys. Again, this is the only video we have available. And I don't know if this is sped up. No, I think this is just normal speed, huh? So these guys are pretty quick, pretty quick. Actually, sorry, as well, before we get into it, guys, thank you so much for all the support. I really appreciate the 800 and something subscribers. That's a lot of people in a room listening to me. So that's really, really cool. Thank you so much for that. We'll get into it. So we're here in this position. Marcelo just deadlifts Henrique off the ground. And we've got this good posturing and good positioning. Now, I would say that in this position, Henrique is doing a bit better because he's already off angled, and you can see how he shoots straight in for he gets the pant grip. This is where I keep falling down. Marcelo smashed me from the bottom of a Della Riva, and I've been stewing on it for 9 months. trying to figure out what happened for me and what went wrong. And so Henrique gets this really good pant grip. And you can see how he's playing, in and around what he's doing. That deep Della Riva dive was already winning. Marcelo did this really good job of defending because Henrique didn't have the sleeve with his top hand, and because of that he couldn't pull, or he didn't swap with the bottom hand to the far side sleeve, because after you get that deep Della Riva grip with your foot, so the left foot goes all the way through to the hip. After you get that, you can go into a X guard with your top foot here, and then you can hunt for the sleeve, which is a very difficult thing to deal with if you're on top in Marcelo's position. And so Marcelo defends this really nicely by putting his hand out, and he's got very flexy hips, so he flared that knee out to the side, and it stopped the sweep quite nicely. And so Professor Gomide comes back into this fight really nicely, stands up, because Professor Henrique is already closing the guard, and this is a very good option to start breaking the closed guard. Is just standing up and you letting gravity do the work, pushing the other person down. And so we largely get into the same position here with this grip. I can't really... So, again, I apologize about the quality, guys. It's all we can do. But I really wanted to cover this match because Professor Gomides kind of deserves recognition, I think. I just like him as a person, basically. And so we're here into this position where both athletes are feeling each other out. They're not making very big movements. There's a lot on the line because I don't believe either of them have won the world title yet, and both of them really want that world title win. And so Professor Gomide goes for this grip break because Professor Enrique has the pant grip and the far side sleeve, which is probably one of the strongest grips in the De La Riva. If not, double sleeve grip is the strongest. It depends on who you ask. Professor Gomide prefers double sleeve. Obviously, Enrique here prefers pants. So Marcelo goes for this grip break, and you can see how he was posturing back quite nicely, not allowing himself to be brought forwards, and all the while Enrique is trying to pull him into the guard, because if you get brought forward into the guard, you get swept pretty easily. And so we're going to be here. Professor Gomide does this really good job. He's got hold of that collar and hold of this pant grip, and this is actually how he smashed through my guard. It felt like I didn't know jiu-jitsu, to be honest with you, when I was rolling against him in the competition. Especially in this instance, fun story. Thought I was actually the best in the division, foolishly. So I was like, yeah, these guys have to prove they're ready to fight me. Nah, that's not how that went. That is not how that went at all for me. And so Marcelo grabbed my pant leg just like this, grabbed this, and he's got flexi hips, and he just did like a reverse knee cut, where he, like a backstep reverse knee cut, and drove the knee straight across the inside space, plowed straight through my grip, and then passed my guard like it was nothing. But Enrique did a really good job there of putting his bottom foot out and stopping that pass, And he's all the time, you can see how he's pulling Marcelo into the guard. So from this little exchange, it's really cool because Professor Gomide was all of a sudden threatening a pass, and then started losing the position and had to start playing defense of the sweeps again. And so it's very interesting how the dynamic changes very quickly if you're not careful. And so this deep squat on the pants, on the hips, is very, very good. Puts a lot of pressure through the other person. Makes it very difficult for them to do much. And you can see Professor Gomides' posture is really quite nice here. Oops, I don't know what I've done there. What have I done? Brought it out of full screen. Sorry, guys. And so we're into this. Admittedly, these guys are both way better than me, but I'm not the biggest fan that I'm seeing. Oh, what have I done? I think I closed my window projector. I did. Okay, sorry guys, 1 second. I'm not the biggest fan per se of this posture that I'm seeing at the moment, just because basically I'm rubbish at jiu-jitsu, and I kept on getting swept. I keep on getting swept from there against anyone of any substance. And so because my balance and my sense of balance isn't as good as these boys, I don't like the fact that Professor Gomide is hunched over. But again, there's not really that many threats here at the moment, because you can see the feet are on his hips, and he is actually like heaving upwards and leaning backwards while the knees are going in. And so it's a little bit difficult to sweep him from here, especially when he's controlling that pant sleeve very effectively. However, I'm not the biggest fan of hunching over the top of the other person when the foot's on the hip. For me personally, it feels like a lot of risk. And yeah, you can see how Professor Gomide starts posturing up and his hips go in like he's doing a deadlift. And now this makes it way heavier for the person on bottom. And you can see how Enrique is making that progress. He's going around the side a little bit at a time and almost sweeps Professor Gomide. And this is kind of what I was talking about with that posture, is that I don't like that posture because it kind of allows this type of situation much more easily. And so it's a very difficult position to play. Very nice wrestle up. This is a very nice wrestle up by Professor Enrique. he's using this far side foot to keep Marcelo's knee away, and then he's using the top side foot to push him away as well, so that he can eventually start wrestling up on Professor Gomide. And you can see how he like hunched himself in, so that he gets more leverage of the foot again, as Professor Gomides is trying to step over the top of it and clear his hip. But Enrique has Marcelo's left hand here. Marcelo's doing this great job of controlling that outside pant leg, but it's not a position you could rest in, you know. And so Enrique manages to push Marcelo all the way away. He loses a little bit of balance. I don't know what's with my arrows today, sorry guys. Loses a bit of balance, which allows Enrique to start wrestling up and following into like a single leg position. But that's a lot of heave that he just used. However, this type of positioning that he ended up in is winning. But I believe that Professor Gomide has been training judo for like 17 years, something like this. Can't remember exactly what he told me because it was a little while ago, but like I've been training for 12 years now. And after the match, he came up to me and said that, like for my match with him, he said that I was doing very well and not to feel bad because he'd been training judo for 17 years and jiu-jitsu for like 14 as well. So it was very, very good. So he knows what he's doing here in terms of grabbing this belt and controlling that sleeve. And if Enrique ain't careful, he's going to get uchimated, is the bottom line. And so Marcelo's done a very good job of recovering that right leg back down to the ground, and starting to play like stand up again. So we'll just have to see what happens. And Enrique is still hunting for that single leg. I believe that he has so it looks like he has the collar going through to that pant behind the leg, and he's like using it to lift the leg off the ground. So there's still threats for both people here. It's a very difficult position to play, and I would suggest that it's more in Enrique's favor than Marcelo's, if I'm honest, at this point in time. So a nice little scramble. To me, it kind of looks like these boys are quite nervous to be on this stage because, again, it's Worlds and it's the semifinals. Nice. Very nice takedown. And so it looked like from Enrique there, like almost a little bit, panicky. Do you know what I mean? When he went for that takedown attempt just now, when he went for that takedown attempt just now, looked almost a little bit spazzy, didn't it? But again, this is what happens when you have two people that are more or less the same skill level. You know, like when the differences will be made by advantages. And so Marcelo's doing this really good job of keeping his balance, and his sense of balance is unreal. You know, like there's one instance as well in the match I had with him where I was in closed guard and I shifted by like an inch or two and he swept me. His perception of balance is insane. And so Enrique does this really good step behind, where he's using his left leg here, steps in and starts like wrenching down on the hip as he leverages up on the knee. And so it ends up pinwheeling, and Marcelo would want to step this leg back and out the top. So that's why Enrique starts to block the foot, and it makes it very difficult for Marcelo, you know, and Marcelo ends up falling because of that gi grip behind the knee, and Marcelo is struggling to stand back up to his feet again. So we get to this position. So takedown's very nice. Marcelo gets a closed guard. And then they stop and reset the position. So we're 4 minutes into the match. Very difficult position to play. Marcelo now knows he's down on points and has to make something happen. Enrique knows he's up on points and needs to defend something happening. And so Marcelo's doing this good job of going on the cross sleeve. And he trains like a machine for his pull power, honestly. Again, kind of hyping him up because he's the only one that I have actually seen personally train, and I follow him on social media and things. So I apologize if I sound like a bit of a fanboy, but I fucking am. So here we are. He's very strong with that pull. He's very strong, and he's very good at off-balancing the other person. And I really like what he's doing here to go around the corner to start threatening sweeps and so on and so forth, and start looking to make progress on that sleeve. So yeah, it's pretty well exactly what happened to me. It's very, very good work. So Marcelo goes around the corner with his head and starts looking to pull the sleeve, and it's really cool because he's like using that as a prop to pull himself up and over the top. But because his shoulder's already around the corner, propped on the floor, it means that he's like a triangle right now, right? And because he can prop up off that shoulder, using the hand to pull himself, his hips go in. Because this happens, he doesn't really need to he doesn't need to unlock his feet from the close guard. So he doesn't need to risk the other person escaping. And now Henrique just got swept like it were nothing. And that makes me feel way better about myself, lads, and one girl that watch my channel. It makes me feel way better about myself because because it happened to like literally the third best on the planet. And so Marcelo secures the points, and Henrique is desperate to go back to his back. I can't really see what happens here, but I would love to see this thing where Marcelo just maintains this position for another 5 seconds. I know that like Henrique is really spazzing, but just put the effort in to hold it here and not let go. And not try and transition to the back, because you can see how Henrique is given this arm here. As he gets up, it will encourage Marcelo to fall off the top. And so just maintaining that position and like really trying to shift the hips over the top is probably the preferred thing to do. But again, it's easy to criticize when you're on the sidelines. And so we're into this position, this body lock type position. It's a bit weird that we're not given the 4 points for the back, but I suppose we're not technically on the back via the rule sets yet. To be honest with you, this is close enough to the back that it may as well be. But Henrique does a really good job of defending, and I can't quite see what he did to do that, but he pulled Marcelo back through, so it must have been something to do with the right hand, you know. And there's another advantage for Professor Gomide now. Beautiful work. He's very, very good with that hip bump sweep. So this advantage now means that Professor Gomide is winning. He got the sweep, secured the points, almost took the back, got the advantage. And now he's working on exactly the same thing, but Henrique is putting on a lot of effort to not fall and to push him back down. That type of thing. And so this is a very difficult position to play, and I would imagine that Professor Gomide is going to fall again. Oh, no, I was wrong. So this arm over the top, there's going to be a lot of torque in the shoulder, actually, I think. And so it just depends if, Marcelo can clear that arm or not. But he manages to, and he manages to climb on the back, more or less. But Henrique is once again like trying to scoop Marcelo around the top. And so it's a very difficult position for both athletes, actually, because you need to be holding yourself up, and Marcelo's like 100 kg. It's a lot of effort to hold yourself up, and it's a lot of effort to hold the other person on you if you're Professor Henrique, and it's a lot of effort to push them back around the front. And so they stop, they reset, they get back in the close guard, and they start going from here. Looks like the guys in the background are having an absolute battle, isn't it? I'm not sure what's going on. Having a bit of a rest. And then they start going again. So it's the same type of position. It's like I was only given one instance to have a play in Enrique's position here. I'm really looking forward to matching against my Professor Gomide again in competition, just to test my own progress and then maybe ask him some questions about it later. But it's a very difficult position to play against Professor Gomide because he's so fucking long. Like, he's taller than I am, and I'm 6'3", and I think he's like 6'4", 6'5". It's a very long individual. And he trains for compound strength as well as technique, and so when he applies the strength to the technique, it becomes almost overwhelming, you know. Now Professor Gomides is going for like the Hodger grip. This grip on the back is a very, very strong grip on the shoulder, and just pulling it across will threaten like pocket grips and things. So if he can manage to get this elbow across the body and reach up with his hand and grab the far side, it makes sweeps much more easy. But at the same end of it, if he drops his top leg down and hacks in and then kicks over the top, he'll be threatening more sweeps again. And so you can see how Enrique's posture is broken off to the side. It's very difficult for him to maintain this position because he needs to be respectful of both sides of what can happen. And it's very hard to keep your balance and posture. I don't know how he managed to step up on this leg with so much weight, but pretty intense sort of display of physicality. Marcelo at the moment going for an Ezekiel choke, just connecting to his own sleeve and then trying to pummel in front. Enrique doing a good job of defending this. You know, it's a very difficult position to defend. And so, again, I would definitely put this in favour of Professor Gomide. Well, I mean, the judges would too, because he's got 4 advantages now. But it definitely feels like Professor Enrique is defending much more than he is attacking at the moment. And so I'm not actually sure what the idea behind the thumb down in this grip is. I'm not sure behind it, but I think it's just trying to set up the same type of hip bump sweep. So we can now see Professor Gomide going around the corner again, like what we've been talking about. And if Professor Enrique ain't careful, he's going to do the same thing with that hip bump, the close guard hip bump that we've been seeing. Yep, he goes for it again, but Enrique is learning during the match, and Marcelo's obviously getting more and more tired, and so it's a bit difficult to finish the sweep when someone's now ready for it, you know what I mean? And that's true for me as well. Like, even in the match I had against Professor Gomide, he racked up like 24, 26 points or something like that inside a minute, and then over the next 8 got the rest of them. And so, like, when you're against people of even my level and up, they can still learn during the match if they don't just lose instantly. And so getting like the sweep over and over and over on someone the caliber of, you know, 3rd best on the planet is very difficult. It's a very difficult ask. So now we're into this position. Professor Enrique is doing a really good job of pressuring in, but Marcelo does a really good job of getting that leg weave on the inside. And so we're into this position now. Enrique needs to make something happen in the next minute or 2, otherwise he loses. But again, it's hard when there's only a minute left, and it's hard for both parties. It's hard for both parties to make something happen. And I would suggest it's probably harder to defend than it is to attack, because the desperation comes into it when you need to make something happen, and so you start pushing harder. However, Marcelo is not the type of person to just sit and try and defend. You can see he's still attacking that far side. And so he sits up, he starts looking to get that grip on the neck. I suppose if Professor Enrique is not careful, Marcelo could drop back down using his other hand to connect in behind the head, all the way across the top, grab onto the gi on the other side, and start threatening Ezekiel's. And so we're into this position now where Marcelo is still pushing across the top, and Enrique is like waddling out all the time. That looked like that hurt. So Marcelo throws himself in, trying to get like a pendulum sweep. and then gets punched in the face. Yeah, accidentally gets punched in the face, maybe in the eye. That looks like that hurt. It's a nice display of sportsmanship. Instead of trying to take advantage of this, Professor Enrique points at his competitor and waits. And so I imagine, yeah, we're going to see some action in terms of like the paramedic. Everything looks to be good. Still looks like that hurt. And so Marcelo is going for like Saitoshi guard type thing. So the Saitoshi is when you free the lapel, as you can see, you go underneath the leg and pass the lapel into your own hand, and that's a very difficult guard to play against if you don't know what's happening. So there seems to be some dispute over like what grips were had, what grips were gotten, and all the rest of it, and then Marcelo abandons the Saitoshi in favor of like a wrap. A little spider monkey. And by little, I mean fucking huge spider monkey. And so we've got 25 seconds left in this match. Professor Enrique really needs to make something happen right now, but I don't see that happening. And so Marcelo just needs to stand up and keep him away for 15 seconds. And I don't think that is going to happen, to be honest with you. Although very, very close. Very, very close. It was a really good defense there. Nice Kataguruma attempt, and then stepping in to try and get onto this hook. Marcelo's trying to backstep off the top, but Professor Enrique manages to keep that hook and start lifting, but loses control of the hands. And as soon as he loses control of the hands, Marcelo can stop himself and then just settle into the guard, but not being too lax as well, because if he gets swept at the very last second, then Professor Enrique wins. And so, you don't stop until the buzzer goes. Not sure why they're still going, because the time is over. The ref was so invested in it. Cool. So that's the match. Professor Gomide wins with 4 advantages, same points. And it goes to show that all of these top guys at this type of level are just insanely good. They're insanely good. And they're all close enough that pretty well anyone could win on the day. And so it's always a pleasure watching these sort of top level athletes play, play their style. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching this video. I learned a lot, as always. I'm actually hoping to make a trip down to Professor Gomides so he can smash me and teach me what I'm doing wrong. But if you liked it, guys, if you're still at this point in the video, thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, please drop us a like and a subscribe. It really helps me out. It makes me feel like an actual YouTuber. And then I'll see you all for the next one. Thank you so much. Bye now.